Montrealer this week is a man who came to this city with a plan to end his life. Instead, he found a new purpose. Alvin Powell played 3.5 seasons in the NFL with the Seattle Seahawks and the Miami Dolphins. His career came crashing down when he became addicted to crack cocaine. He came to Montreal to escape the shame south of the border and with an idea to commit suicide. Instead, he got clean, and then he was hired as a drug counselor. Since 2004, he has run the Saving Station Foundation, which offers advice to kids and parents on staying off drugs.
I completely destroyed my NFL career because of drugs, and I was just totally out of control. Totally humiliated my family, myself, my team, the community, and as you know, when you're a pro athlete and you're in the media, everybody knows about it, the whole entire country. So I figured I'd come to Canada to put an end to my life.
That was your plan when you came?
That was my motivating factor.
Really?
Yeah.
So what happened?
Well, the man upstairs had other plans. And so I recovered in April the 8th, 1993 to be precise. It was a struggle because I was in a foreign country, just trying to survive. I had no government assistance or anything like that. I didn't know anyone. And so it was just a struggle. I lived on the very streets of Montreal. I would break into laundry rooms. I would steal. I would do whatever I had to do to survive. I knew that I could not go back to the States. I was too humiliated, and I'd burnt all my bridges. No one wanted anything to do with me. And so, I figured once I got off the drugs, I'd have to do what I had to do to survive. That's what I did.
You were living on the streets while you were trying to recover?
Absolutely. I came into recovery. My sponsor actually, he was in early recovery. He actually took the mattress off the bed and put it on the floor, and I slept on the mattress, and he slept on the box spring. And it was roach infested, mice infested place right off the carry there. And this was the beginning. It was a very humbling experience. I had to take that university degree and all that wisdom that I'd gained and put it right in my back pocket. Wash cars, I did everything you could imagine to earn money. But on my road to recovery, it became very evident to me that I was a very selfish and self-centered prick. And that I was a father of children, and they needed their dad. And that was the motivating factor for me, that I had to, suck it up and do what you had to do. It's not these children's fault that you brought into this world, and that was it. That was the driving force for me, was my children.
It's incredible. You tell your story so bluntly and so well, I have to say, and you've brought it into school. So tell me the reaction from kids in schools when you go in there and tell this story.
Kids appreciate the truth. We are living in a society today where it's just a whole different breed of children, and parents need to get this. I mean, these kids are way more intelligent than we ever could be. They're stupid as hell sometimes too.
They make interesting choices, right? Or bad choices.
They are able to get information that we never had access to, and that empowers them. And they're too immature to handle all this information. And so therefore they're way ahead of us on the intelligence scale. But in terms of just moral decisions and things that are ethically right and wrong, they just seem to not be there. They're really hard kids. They don't have that sensitivity that we have. And I give an experiment when I go to schools. I've done this. I mean, remember about 6-7 years ago, there was a beheading of a reporter overseas, and I asked, in an auditorium full of about 1,000 kids, I said, those of you kids who watched this beheading on a computer, can you please stand to your feet? About 95% of the kids in the auditorium stood to their feet. Now the teachers and the educators were aligned against the wall. And I said, of you, educators and teachers, I want you to take one step forward if you actually watch this video, and only 2 steps forward. And it was a clear indication of the differences between, the generations in terms of that sensitivity. These kids are very hardline kids. You got to come with them with a very hardline message, or you're going to lose them. They're not going to hear you. And so I just tell them the truth. I don't sugarcoat anything. I tell them just the way it is. I let them know exactly how it is out there. But more importantly, I take the time to educate them on progression. This is how it's going to try to trap you. These are the things you need to look for while you're using. If you're exhibiting these behaviors, you need to check yourself, because only you can control you. Your parents can lock you up, they can beat you, they can discipline you. But if it's in your mind to use drugs, you're going to use drugs. And you are only hurting you. Understand that our job as parents and educators are one and the same, is to prepare you from a human being that's very dependent on his parents to an independent human being who becomes then self-sufficient. So to not prepare you for for this world out there is to fail you, to allow you to come in when you want to, speak back, and all these things that we implement discipline for, consequences, boundaries, is to fail our children. And so when I teach about drugs, I make sure that I get the progression in there. I make sure that I leave them with resources, because we're never going to be there, Jamie. Never. When they have to make that decision to pick up or not pick up. We're never going to be there. And so it's important that whatever I say to these kids, I'm saying it with such a force that will impact them in that moment when they're with their friends.
Incredible guy. For more information, or if you need help, log on to the website, Saving Station Foundation. That's how you can get in touch with Alvin.